It's a privilege to be part of the group here tonight, and it was certainly a privilege to study with the audio research group at Waterloo. I did an undergrad in engineering at Waterloo and was out of school for a few years doing acoustical consulting, and somehow thought I had too much spare time and I should go back and do a graduate degree in my part-time, in my spare time. And so I guess I didn't really do audio with the audio research group. I did acoustics. Related to audio, I wanted to go to look into measurement methods for acoustical properties of materials. And there were people starting to work at that time trying to measure the acoustical properties, absorptive properties, and so on of materials in situ in a room, and just bombard a wall or a floor or a ceiling with sound and try to use a measurement method to decompose the incident, the reflected sound, and get a good measurement of the acoustical properties of materials. So I started out with that topic in mind, and there's an established method for measuring properties of materials using an impedance tube, where we have a one-dimensional sound field with a loudspeaker at one end and a sample of material at the other end. And that works for material like foams and perforates and things where you can cut a small piece of the material and it will react. When you have a small piece, this is the same way it does if it's built into a wall or a floor in a room. My plan was to use that impedance tube method as the standard against which we'd measure the improved accuracy hopefully of in situ measurements in a room. But I got into it and found out that the accuracy measuring in a tube wasn't very good either. So sort of scaled back and and started looking at using some of the things that the audio research group was already doing, maximum length sequences, for instance, to improve the accuracy, particularly the low frequency accuracy of measuring absorption and phase characteristics of materials. And I heard that Rob Wanamaker maybe took as long as I did to do his degree. I was thinking that I might hold the record for the longest elapsed time to complete a degree in the audio research group. Started in '96 and finished in 2003. And that's part. I did a lot of my work is because I was out working in acoustics. I had my own instrumentation, and so I didn't have to be in the lab. So I would set my apparatus up at home, and a standard impedance tube is usually about 1 meter long, using 2 microphones. And by introducing maximum length sequences, we could get down to using 1 microphone, and really increase the accuracy by building a long tube. So size does matter. So instead of a 1 meter tube, I built a 25-foot tube in my basement, and I had to go down the hallway and into my stepson's bedroom. So I had to disassemble it frequently, and so it took me a long time to get my measurements done. And then, of course, because size matters, then John wanted to one-up me, and he built a 100-foot tube, which was a coil in the lab. A coil of I used Schedule 40 steel pipe for my 25-foot impedance tube, and I think John had like a coil of 2-inch ABS pipe with a compression driver at one end and the sample at the other, and the microphone halfway down the tube to see if we could get even better low frequency response. The longer tube you build, the better your low frequency response you can get. So we called that the Acoustic Cyclotron, because and it's plane wave, so it shouldn't matter if it goes around a circle, and it sort of did matter, and it sort of worked. And we actually used that. The apparatus I built, we still have at the company, and once in a while someone calls us and wants to do some testing of materials. It doesn't get as much use as it used to. But the things that I remember noticing right when I came to the audio research group was sort of the enthusiastic passion for the subject matter. So almost a childlike wonder and enthusiasm, which is very infectious. I mean, I went there liking the subject matter, but Stan and John love the subject matter, get very excited and animated. And the other thing, I guess, was the patience and the perseverance to really understand something all the way to the bottom and take it all apart and maybe understand it, spend the time to learn something as well as anybody else, or maybe better than anybody else in the world knows at the current time, and really get to the bottom. And 5-6 years into doing this degree, I was starting to think this is taking too long and getting very anxious about how long it was taking. But coming from the consulting world, where everything is very fast-paced and we never have time to really learn a problem all the way to the bottom. In consulting, you're more or less paid by the hour in some form or another, so you get the answer within 3 dB and get it out the door as quickly as you can. So it was a unique experience to be able to spend the time and the enthusiasm to get all the way to the bottom of a subject and really learn it inside out and understand the equations, understand the physics. So that was a big takeaway for me. Thank you.